day 7 of the Selfish Summer Summit. I am Coriel, your hostess with the mostest, on a mission to help other Black women invest in wellness. Now, when I say wellness, I'm not just talking about your physical health, I'm talking about our entire being, emotionally, physically, spiritually. All of it has to be in alignment if we are truly going to live well. And I believe that true wealth is good health. And so a part of that is just getting as self-aware as we possibly can so that we can live out our life experience to the fullest. Now, everybody is not into astrology or any like esoteric sciences, but your girl has gone down a few rabbit holes, and I am still very new to this. I am not true to this. But my auntie, who I'm about to introduce y'all to, the LaTonia Taylor, is definitely not new to this. She is true to this. And I always look forward to the opportunity to have her here presenting on my platform because she is such a wealth of information. She has a wealth of experience and expertise. And I am beyond excited to introduce y'all to Rev Coach LaTonia Taylor.
Greetings.
Listen, I think we finally got this technology together. Is it Mercury retrograde? What is going on? What's
Not
happening?
yet. August. But we have two other planets in retrograde, and we
So
have a
something could
very
be happening.
intense Capricorn full moon coming up tomorrow.
Okay, so I'm gonna give that the credit. I'm gonna give that full moon the credit for all of this craziness, but I am not going to let that take away from my excitement to get into this conversation. I would love for you, though, to give yourself a proper introduction for people who may not have seen you on the podcast, may not have heard from you on the last summit. Who is the Rev Coach?
Greetings, everybody. I am LaTonia Taylor, affectionately known as the Rev Coach, the Juicy Spirit Mama, the Priestess of Purpose, Pleasure, Passion, and Profits. And I'm Coriel's OG auntie in the grown woman TV world. I'm the OG auntie.
Yes, you are the OG auntie. And y'all are going to see in just a moment why, from the moment that we had an exchange, it was kind of just in passing when we met in real life. I knew, and I think I told you on that day, like, I need to get you on the podcast. I need to talk to you. I could tell that you had information that was beyond just me needing, but has been so valuable to all of the nieces out there. And even the other aunties who have not been able to tap into the information that you've been able to tap into. One of the things that I love and admire the most about you is how multifaceted you are. And for a lot of people, when they hear the term reverend or life coach or priestess, and then they hear you talking about astrology, for a lot of people, they cannot understand how you can be so out of the box. And I think that is beautiful that your spirit cannot be contained. But I want to know, how are you so multifaceted and how do you balance spirituality with just all of your beliefs? How do you bring it all together fearlessly?
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for, for those words and just your in-depth way of being able to express it openly. I actually think that this conversation tonight will answer that. I think because it is my design to do that, to be multi-purposed. I spent a lot of years of my life thinking that I had to fit into somebody's box, and particularly in business when it came to niche. And but before I started to understand the systems and personality types, I really don't know how I was able to navigate in and out of different religions, um, reclaim myself. But I do think that a part of it had to do with some of the metaphysical studies that bring in all of the things that we've been taught to reject. I mean, see, a lot of people go just Google. We Google and we think we know. But I think I'm Gen X, so I love to talk about the generations. And so I think because I got free of the traditional way of being, it rebirthed me, and I started to question a lot of the things that I was taught. And so then I would have another rebirth, and then another rebirth, and more information would come, and I became more open to explore things. So I think that's really how it started. Is I got free from the biggest thing, and the biggest thing usually is whatever institutionalized learning that we've had. And so for me, it was religion. For other people, it may be that they go to school and get a major in something only to find out that they didn't want to do it in the first place. Another person may have to go through a marriage in order and have the marriage or relationship fail. Other people, it may be teen pregnancy. But whatever your life event is, either it makes you stuck, and then repeating, trying to recreate it, or it opens up a path for you. And so when it opened up the path for me, I just kept on studying. And I think it has to do with the metaphysical studies, and the spiritual call on my life to be a bridge for other people to get across.
Okay. Now I know some like background info just because we've had several conversations, but talk a little bit about your foundational like belief system, like what you grew up believing or subscribing to. Because I think it's so important to talk about foundation and then how you kind of were able to transition because so many people are going to be able to relate to it.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm from the deep South. I'm a Mississippi girl by way of New Orleans. Honey, I am from the in the Bible Belt. So I grew up with with a family. Part of my family was Baptist, the other part of my family was Catholic. So I say that I was bilingual growing up, because I literally would go to the Catholic church early in the morning, be done in an hour, and then go to my auntie's house and walk around the street to my mother's church. So I would go from, quiet Catholics to, get it popping Baptist. So I was bilingual then. I went on to Southern University in Baton Rouge. And I remember I started to question there. I was sitting outside a TT Lane business building at Southern University, and they were just talking about us, who we were, and our history and the Bible. In college, you get exposed to things and conversations that sometimes you can't find in your hometown and with the sameness of your hometown. And so I was like, what are they talking about? And so, being the good Gemini that I am, I asked a few questions, and I was my consciousness was pricked because I always knew that there was something more. I remember watching Donahue, and there was and I ended up meeting him and really working with him. There was a pastor, a priest who had defected from the Catholic Church. That was the first thing that got my attention on Donahue. And I remember, anybody remember Donahue? You do. You
I
remember
remember
Donahue?
Donahue. Yes.
And so then really that set the trajectory of my life. I got introduced to Minister Farrakhan. I felt like when people say you hear something and it rings your bell. And so I began to study with the Nation of Islam, and really the Nation of Islam showed me a lot of ways to understand the Bible and my identity in the Bible. So that was the beginning of that. And so in the Nation, you study Bible, you study Quran, and you study a system of knowledge. And so from there, I went on to start studying metaphysics. And then I'm questioning all the things that are connected, because now I'm getting principles. Principles are neutral. It's what all of the three major religions are built on. And so I'm seeing the correlations, and then I'm asking more questions, and then from there, I just go on to study so many other things. The most important study, though, I would say after that, was the study of myself. I was married. I was a young bride. So I was asking a lot of questions. Why did I choose this? What was going on with me? And that's where I learned more about my daddy issues, where I learned about my rejection and abandonment issues, how I ended up married and in a religion, because all of these things seem so noble and so good. But for me, at 19 years old, I just didn't, I wasn't as conscious. The old people say, just keep living, baby. Just keep living.
I love that you were even willing to explore these conversations, these thoughts, this new awareness, because so many people get stuck in like even being afraid to question what they were, raised to believe. I do feel like though the fact that you kind of had two experiences, the Catholic experience and then like the Baptist experience, that even showed you that there's more than one way. I think for so many people who only have that like one Christian, whatever denomination, that one Christian experience where it's like, this is the only way that you can be. And if you think anything outside of this box, then you're going straight to hell. There's
Yeah.
no wiggle room for you to ask questions. And I was always a very curious kid too. I remember asking questions that nobody seemed to have the answer for. Even as a child, it was always just this is the way it is kind of
Mhm.
explanation when that didn't make sense to me, which might even come back around to this whole human design thing. But I wanted to start here before we even get into human design, because whenever you bring up the conversations of astrology, numerology, astrology, human design, I'm sure can kind of fall in line with these sciences as well. The Christian community starts shouting witchcraft
Mhm.
like off top, anything that is foreign, anything that cannot directly word for word be spelled out or pointed to in scripture is seen as witchcraft. And so, how did you or did you experience anybody wanting to shame you for having this new belief or wanting to say that what you were believing in was demonic because it was different?
Oh yeah, absolutely. A part of my story, a part of my book. I actually thought I was the black sheep, and who knows? It was because I thought I was the black sheep that I was interested in other things. I really do think that it's by design that when you are the black sheep, when you are the rebel, when you jump off the porch, you are the one in the family that's supposed to have, that's an anointing. But oftentimes we think it's something wrong with us or something, but somebody did us wrong. But I see now that it's by design. See, the people that stay close to home, they follow all the rules. They take care of the parents, they make everybody else happy. They're not venturing out too much. It's the story of the prodigal son in the Bible. See, in the Bible, in the prodigal son, the son that went out and did his thing, and even was in the pig what do you call that, pig yard. Basically they
Pigsty.
said he was in the with the swine. The other brother stayed home, but the father kept the space open for the brother because the inheritance was his. But he didn't know that. He thought he had done, the brother who went away thought he'd done something wrong, and the brother who stayed had an attitude, because you left me here with all of the work. Come on now, I know I'm talking about somebody's house, somebody's family. And so when he came back to his father's house, some preachers preached that as though he did something wrong, so he had to come home with his head hanging down. No, but people who've been liberated and people who study psychology find out that he came back home and his father welcomed him because it was his destiny to be the leader. He got an assignment from the father that the brother was upset about. And we see this story play out biblically for over and over again. When there's one who follows the rules, stay close. We see it in the dynamics between women and sisters as well in Bible stories. And so, yeah, I do think that when I got rejected a little bit. Not only that, I got married at 19 years old. So I got threatened. You are not going to do this. I defy you to do this. And I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And it's still a little bit of a joke today. So I was the one who was natural first in my family. I was the one who stopped eating pork in my family. I was the one who went to Whole Foods, and I was called bougie. Oh, that's you, Nene. That's they call me Nene. She's bougie. She got to have this. She got to have that. Now After my sister had some children and they bring out a little thing, and other people, they see other people wearing their, now they're wearing their hair natural. Now they're watching certain things that they eat. Oh, they'll call me the bougie auntie for, should I get this? The ingredients said such and such. Is this okay? So, we can turn our wound into wealth. And it took me a long time not to wear the badge of the rejected, despised black sheep. It was a painful point for me because I always was different. Always was different. And nobody in my family, immediate family, was like me.
So how much of this human design slash zodiac slash your life path number, how much of this is predestined? Like we talked about this whole conversation just keeps coming up almost every single night, where whether we're talking about the mother wound or you talking about being the black sheep. I learned a new term, transitional character, where you are literally changing the like the lineage for generations to come based on what you do. But baby, it is a lonely, depressing feeling to be the weird one, to be the only one that is not okay with just going with the status quo or just doing what has always been done, because you are often rejected. You are often isolated, and other people isolating you is eventually going to start to take a toll on your self-worth, or how you feel about yourself. And so I think that it is so affirming, and people in the comments are saying this is for me. I think it's so affirming to hear from someone who has made it through, like made it. And I know this is a journey, but has at least made it through that part of the journey where you aren't allowing other people to define you, or allowing other people to tell you who you are when you know who you are. So let's get into the human design, because you have said a couple times, like, this is who you were designed to be. And so for the people who are watching this, that naturally is just the weird one. I don't know of a better term than weird, but I consider myself to be the weird one. I tell my husband, like, I was the weird girlfriend. I'm the one that got you off of them chicken wings. I'm the one that got you onto this raw lifestyle. I'm the one that got you, just making changes naturally. That's just who I have always been as well. So are we this way because that's how we were designed and we don't have a choice? How does this work? How does human design work?
Okay, so human design, we're going to have an Astro HD conversation, which combines astrology and human design. One thing that's common between the two of them is you come in here with your own cosmic fingerprint. The moment that you crown through your mother's womb, you get a stamp. That's your individual blueprint, your stamp, your destiny, that type of thing. However, you're born in generations, and that influences the time too. So that's why I talk about the generations, because when I'm on this platform and other platforms and I talk about the generations, the people who don't know it can, I believe that a lot of people, we're in the age of Aquarius, where people want to know. So that's a tip for anybody. Rather than agree or disagree, if it's something I say that you don't know or that's new, don't just dismiss it. Write it down, look it up. That's how you become a seeker. And so there are going to be some people who are seekers, who are natural seekers. Those are going to be your air signs, right? There are going to be those people who are natural nurturers. That's going to be your water signs. They're going to be those who are your fire starters, the one that makes things, initiate. They're the ones to pull things together. Those are your fire signs. And then they're going to be the ones who are a little skeptical, a little slow to respond. Those are your earth signs. They're a little slower to change and to adapt and to shift. They like comfort zones. And then there's 3 levels of each one of those. So how we respond to information on top of indoctrination, in top of the date and time that or generation that we were born in, there's always something influencing us. Why? Because there's a certain music that was played during the time that your mother was born, or your auntie, or your big cousin. They dress different, right? There was something trending. Well, that's why the children now are so different. The ones who they talk about the children, they always say those pandemic babies, oh, those pandemic babies, they're different. Or they're walking, they're crawling early, they're talking early. They're different. There's a generation starting in 1985 that did not come in with the karmic baggage that many of us were born under. And all of that is influenced through where Saturn was, where Pluto was, when we start talking about karmic energy in new generations.
Oh, you just said a lot. Y'all stay with us, okay? Because I know this get a little deep, but Auntie know how to break it down, okay? When it comes to all of these, I think it's esoteric sciences.
That's
Am I saying it
good.
right? So
Mhm.
when it comes with all of this, is horoscope, or like your zodiac sign, your sun sign, your moon sign, is that like ABC 1, 2, 3? Like, is that level one understanding? Because I'm trying to figure out where human design falls in.
Oh, okay. So I would say this. So astrology tells you the what, and human design tells you the how.
Okay. Okay.
It
Okay.
it gets into the details. Astrology tells you where everything was, what's influencing you, but human design, it gets so precise. It's talking about basically how your body receives energy, how your body amplifies energy, how your personality expresses or communicates. So this is very helpful for people in business, people, parents, people in relationships, raising children, anywhere where you have to know how your energy works with other people's energy. Or, I'll give you an example. I never understood, you know I know that I can be perceived as a social butterfly, and to a degree I can be. um but I would always need times to replenish myself. Like, I just wasn't rushing to go back out. Well, human design helped me to understand the depths of why, and to be able to rest in it so that I will not be judging myself. I judged myself for so many years, asking myself what was wrong with me. What why do people respond to me in a certain way? Human design answered so much for me.
And that to me is what this is all about. It's like the self awareness is for you. It's for you to stop feeling like something is wrong with you, and just start being able to put some language to it. It's for you to start feeling seen. When my latest obsession has been like this adult ADHD. I'm like, based on all of these quizzes, based on all
Oh
of these
yeah.
things, I can look at this laundry list and be like, that helps me to understand this. That explains why I've always done that. And the feeling of just like, wow, it makes sense. That to me is what the gift that self awareness gives you. So whether you are doing a personality test, or you're learning your love language, or you are realizing that you got a mother wound, the more you know about yourself, the more you'll be able to pinpoint, okay, this is why I show up this way, or this is why people respond to me this way, or this is why people are perceiving me that way, so that we can truly have the best relationships, whether they are, romantic relationships, platonic relationships, or even just working relationships, in business. So what are the types of human design?
Okay. All right. So, um, there, there are about five types, but they all play on each other very differently, right? So, I want to give you all some basics, because you are people looking at their charts, as like we talked about during the live, because I set up a whole site for them to go and pull their chart.
So, okay, yes. So they got the link. I see somebody here says that she did the quiz, but she doesn't understand all of the numbers. So now would be a good time, if you did take the quiz that was linked in your emails earlier, to go ahead and pull that up in case you have questions about it, and so that you can kind of follow through and make it make sense. So Sakina, if you want to, I guess, share your results. Maybe we can kind of help you figure out what you're confused about. But you go ahead, Auntie.
Okay. So yeah, you can go if you're watching this or watching the replay, you can go to your rebirth by design .com, your rebirth by design, and pull your free chart, right? I want you to pull your free chart so that we're talking. You got this in front of you, right? Okay, good. Now, you're going to see types, right? And so the first type that we're going to talk about is the manifester, okay? And so the manifester is the initiator of the types, right? um and that they have in each, and it's and so to just jump into aura types, let me back up before I get into it, okay? There are 9 centers in human design. There are 64 gates. Okay. So when we're talking, we're having a very surface level conversation. 64 channels and gates. There are 12 signs, 9 centers, and 364 lines that tell the story. Human design is a combination of ancient systems called the I Ching. And those of you who practice any type of African traditional religion, the I Ching is influenced by Ifa. So these are ancient measuring systems to measure energy. So it's that combination, and it uses some chakra language. Okay, and so when Coriel just asked me what are the types, then what she was asking me for are the aura types, and most people start there. So the first one again is the manifesting generator. I mean the manifester, excuse me. The manifester, which is only about 10% of the population. The manifester is a is the one who initiates. So every type has a strategy, an authority, and a theme. Okay, all right. So let me just get them out first, right? So the manifestors is only about 10%. It's only a few of them. Their job is to initiate. Okay, their job is to initiate. And then each type has a not self. A not self is when you are not being your true self, you feel this energy the most, which is anger for the manifester. For the generator and the manifesting generator, these are 2 types of generators. Manifesting generator and a generator. These are the builders, and their authority is to respond. Strategy, excuse me, is to respond. To respond. And then we have the projector, which is is about 20% of the population. Manifesting generator and generators are 33% and 37%. Projectors are 20%, and the projector you're the guide. Your strategy is to be a guide. The reflectors is only about 1%. Okay. So when you look at that chart, the 9 centers determine which one you are. Why? Because on that chart, you'll see the 9 centers. Some of them are shaded. Those are defined centers. Some of them are white or have no color. Those are your open centers. They all have a function. When something is defined, it means that it's a fixed energy. We use that same language in astrology. Fixed, meaning this is your nature. This is who you are naturally. When it's open, it means that this is something that has to be nurtured. Okay, good. Alexis, you're a good one, because I'm a manifesting generator 2-4 profile. Okay. So I can talk about this one with a lot of ease, actually. Because we aren't getting into the profiles each. So now we talked about aura types. We hinted on strategy. We hinted on not self things, and we hit on authority. Let me talk about this a little bit in more energetic language because I wish somebody had done it for me. A generator and a manifesting generator, you invite energy. You attract things very easy. People are drawn to you, right? It's a very alluring energy, even when you don't want to. Not only that, a manifesting generator and a generator, it's exactly what the term talks about. It's a motor. Your motor is going even when you don't want it to go. So people are feeling your energy when you are absolutely being still. Okay? A manifester, you have a repelling energy. It's closed. You push people away and you also push people to initiate, to get up and move. That's the manifester. The projector has a penetrating energy, but they have to wait to be invited. The projector, any projectors, it would be nice to talk to some projectors because you all are a small percent, but you have a penetrating energy, and you cannot use that energy to penetrate through anything. That is why sometimes well, let me slow down. I'm gonna come back to that for a minute, okay? And then there's three types of projectors. And then there is the reflector. That's a person where everything on there in their 9 centers is open. Their job is to evaluate and to sample energy. And everybody has to wait to respond. Everybody has to wait to respond except for the manifester. The reflector has to wait a full lunar cycle. It's not good for reflectors to make decisions in the moment, or in later, what we consider later. They need to wait a full moon cycle, 28 days. These are people who are very sensitive. These are people who oftentimes, if they don't know that they're a reflector, they really are the ones who get labeled as the weirdo, because they can feel energy. They often are very, very spiritually sensitive too, but they're always evaluating. And then the projector, the way that they have to wait to respond is they have to be invited. So imagine a dinner party, right? Or a networking party. And all 5 of these different types walk into the room. The manifester is the one who sees somebody across the room and knows that they have a position and says, I'm going over there to talk to them. I want this business deal. I want this to happen. They can go over, initiate the conversation, and then it's on and popping. They're the innovators. They can go initiate conversations, energy projects, but they don't have the energy to see it all the way through. That's when they need to call on the generator. Generators are considered about the more common type, about 70% when you combine manifesting generator and generator, but they're a motor. So they're the builders, they're the workers. And in fact, most of the population are conditioned to be generators, workers, employees, get it done, make it happen. And manifesting generators are the ones who have the ability to get it done, to build, but also to make it look real good. And then I did generator, manifesting generator, I did all of them. Okay. Now here's the key. Because most of the population has been conditioned through Western colonization, this is why many of us are stressed out and burnt out. Because many of us are not supposed to be the worker. Projectors are not supposed to work for a long period of time. This is why you go to business coaches. And this is definitely a passion for mine, because for years my spirituality told me that I wasn't supposed to do business the same way. I consider myself a spiritual entrepreneur. And even that makes me different. That even makes how I have to do business. Why? Because I've gone and enrolled in these masculine centered programs from coaches, white male coaches who taught black women, who now talk like the white male coaches. And you go sign up for their courses and beat your ass, your own ass, because you did not do what, or get the results that they said. Oftentimes it's because you're not living in your authority. You're not living your type. Projectors are a good example of a brilliant type who are best to guide you. So on your, again, I'm going to keep using analogies. Imagine on your team you got all now the odds are very low to have all initiators. I mean, which are manifestors. Most of the time you're going to have manifesting generators, maybe a here and there sprinkle or two of a projector, but everybody plays a role in terms of the teamwork makes the dream work. Even in a household, this will help you. In a relationship, this will help you. I promise, one, in studying human design, I understood the thing that frustrated me the most about my husband and why I frustrate him. And we have to tap into our strategy in order to be able to take care of ourselves and still understand how to be in relationship with other people.
So could we get a rebirth experience just by coming into this new awareness or this new information
Oh
about
God.
ourselves?
Yes, it is the foundation now of everything that I do. I have always done astrology for my private clients. I've always done readings for my private clients. That alone has changed so much. Um, Alexis says, my little brother is a projector, the only one in my family, and my mom compares him to us, and you just can't. We are all manifesting generators. Absolutely. Okay. So yes, this can absolutely rebirth you, because we are energetic beings. We are energetic beings. I don't care what your theology is, you must agree that we are energetic beings. So we come here with a fingerprint. I'm going to get to you, Alexis, but if I start now, it'll take me off. It can absolutely rebirth you, but it can rebirth you in a customized way instead of a general wholesale. This is boutique, custom fitted energy that we're talking about. And when we start to run our lives like that and run our businesses like that, it becomes easier to be our authentic self. We'll have less imposter syndrome, and we'll have more harmony in who and how we relate to other people. Because when you're able to take care of yourself, then you don't say yes to anything, and you don't get in the way and sabotage things that will naturally come to you. Because, for instance, things come to manifesting generators and generators. Why? Because their aura is attracting, it pulls things in. So the lesson that a generator and a manifesting generator has to learn is how to be patient, how not to push for their agenda, because they know what to do, they know how to do it. How to pull back and chill out, let it come to you. Now this gets into deep spirituality too. This gets into more of how you use your spiritual energy. And so, for instance, one of the things that a manifestor needs to do is to inform. Manifestors don't typically want to inform you of anything. Of all the types, they don't think that they owe anybody an explanation. They are the most surrendered. They don't give two flips about what people feel or think about them, most of them, not the healthy ones. Manifesting generators, projectors, generators are more of an inviting type of energy. Why? Well, projectors are the guides, so they normally have an answer and a solution. They can think through processes. They can do your organizational chart and your operations, but they're not supposed to do it all the time. And this is big because for women, a lot of you are doing business like men. This taps into the feminine too. This taps into our feminine energy, our soft life. How can you have a soft life if you don't know where you need to soften or where you need to pull back or where you need to push?
Or even
Um,
know that that's an option. To your point of how we were raised to do business like men, most entrepreneurs, most of us are still trying to hustle hard like the men do, and we have not yet figured out how to tap into who we truly are or even tap into our feminine. So that's a really good point.
But see, the thing is, the feminine comes into play when you do have, when you practice the feminine arts a little bit more. And this is where maybe this is just what I do in the marketplace. But what happens is when you have a place to relax into with some tools and some skills and to cultivate yourself, it makes your attraction point higher. It makes your vibe higher. So now you begin to trust your design. And this gets more and more specific when we talk about centers that are defined and centers that are not defined. I want somebody in the comments to tell me. I want somebody in the comments. I'm going to come to you, Alexis, but I want somebody in the comments to tell me, is your spleen, for instance, I wanted to do the spleen. Is your spleen colored in or is it open? I want everybody to look and see. Is your spleen colored in or open? Drop it in the comments. Now, while you're doing that, I want to talk to Alexis and her point. She has a little brother in a family of manifesting generators. Manifesting generators are the ones who can go, go, go. Now, it's not true. If you hear human design readers say you are the ones that have endless energy, it's not totally a true statement, because we do get tired. But even when we do stop, our motor is still going. A projector does things in small increments and needs to nap often. They literally cannot, they should not even work an 8-hour day, a projector. So somebody, if they're in a family full of manifestors that's always wanting to go, 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 and the projector says, I don't want to go, let them. They need the nap just so that they can be their best self. So projectors don't have energy. They have energy for short-term projects. They're very concentrated energy. It would be a great way to talk about it. Okay, so I see colored in. So your spleen is colored in. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the spleen that's colored and the spleen that's open. The spleen, for instance, is your intuition. It's your intuition. It's the person who, when your spleen is defined, oftentimes this person can get a feeling about a place that they're going, somewhere they already are. It's the quintessential trust your first mind. Trust your first mind. Because the one who is defined, they know. They don't have to know how they know. They know. The spleen is also your pleasure center. It's your desire to feel good. So if it's not filled in, this person is always seeking that feel good feeling. And when it's not colored in, What happens is when we are in the presence of somebody, right? And a person has an open spleen, for good, I want to give an example. And a person has a defined spleen. The person with the defined spleen is going to influence the person with the open spleen every time. The person with the open spleen is going to be influenced even if it's not direct, because that open energy is seeking. It wants to be nurtured. It wants to be filled in. The universe abhors a void. So when it's open, it means that it's seeking. It doesn't, you don't have that tool, that you don't have that go-to. When it's defined, it's your go-to. It's your go-to. I hope that helps. The spleen is a very powerful one, even when you're a couple. This is how the spleen functions with a couple. Baby, what do you want to go eat? The undefined spleen says, what do you want? Whatever you want. The defined spleen says, I want steak and potatoes today. I want surf and turf. They're very clear on that. Yes, very good. Thank you. That is the triangle to the left. Yes, the triangle to the left. Now let's say you got the triangle to the right, all the way to the right. And it's defined, colored in. And or you have an open one. Drop it in the comments. If you have the triangle all the way to the right. Solar plexus. Open. Okay. This is an emotional, the purpose of this is emotions. The person with a defined, well, first of all, this you need to ride the wave of the emotion. But if it's defined, you ride the wave of the emotions. You have to allow yourself to go through a full emotional cycle. And the emotional cycle may operate with happy, to neutral, to sad, to back to happy again. You have to let yourself, nothing's wrong. You just need to be able to feel what you feel. And oftentimes people who have defined emotional centers, when you're around people who don't know how to access their emotions, they're always telling you, you're just too emotional. See, it shows up. You're just too emotional. No. And then that's how we start trying to pretend and not show certain things, but you feel everything. You lead with your feelings when it's defined. When it's not defined, your emotions could be all over the place, but your environment influences your emotions a lot. When it's open, you're always influenced by your environment. Always. I don't know when you say both are open, what you're saying. And
Probably
there's,
the spleen one and the solar plexus, I think.
yeah, okay, yes, spleen and solar plexus open.
And open means not colored in.
Yes, not colored in. Now,
Ooh,
some charts is
Auntie, this goes deep. This goes deep. But one of the things that I love about you and the work that you do is that you go deep. So for people who are like, okay, wait a minute, I got some questions. What do these bubbles mean? What are these little black dots? Like, how do you offer any type of opportunity to work through, people's charts one-on-one? Like, talk a little bit about how people can work with you, because I can just tell based on the comments here that they need some more help, or they're curious, I should say.
Yeah, so like Alexis, I'm not getting into gates right now, but I will tell you that the gates, they start to tell you how you are uniquely designed, how you need to respond, why you respond the way you do, what's your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Any business women in the chat watching, something about a SWOT analysis? Your human design is your SWOT analysis. Yes, you need a translator. I tried to study this for 2 years by myself. I know we think we can DIY it and just read the little explanations. That's just a start. You really need a translator, and there's levels. Even when I do a 2-hour natal chart reading, which I call your blueprint reading, I'm just telling you the basics. There are specialists within astrology and human design that just focus on health, that just focus on business, that just focus on love and relationships or parenting. There are specialists just like they are in medicine. Why? Because this is our ancient medicine. So when a person, yes, you can go to the link in my bio. I have created a special for you all to get your a human design reading, a laser reading. But I do want you all to take advantage of the free chart tonight so that you can engage in the conversation. And that's your rebirth by design.com. But the link in my bio is on my Instagram page. First, follow me on Instagram, then go to my profile, go to that link, and I'll also go tonight. And for the next few days of the conference, I'll keep the link in my stories as well, so that you can take advantage of the human design reading. It is available at Linktree /rebirth with LaTonia, basically. Linktree rebirth with LaTonia. Go there and you'll see both. You'll see the human design free chart that you can get. There are also some paid charts that I also reduced. I made them $44 for you tonight. For you to just get it. For those of you who don't say, I'm scared of reading, but honey, you'll probably be so happy you did get a reading. I love to do the reading for women in business because that tells you so much. I like to do it for love, sex, and money. It'll tell you a lot about how you love, who you love, why you love, and how to love, with your partner. Then there is, your money. What's your relationship to money? Because you might not have the gate of prosperity and money. There's gates that say that there are some people where money comes to them very easy. Everybody wants to know the money gate. I ain't gonna tell you. You got to come and get a reading with me. And then there are some people, do you know that there are some couples, like, so with all these numbers, right, and all these open centers, there are some couples that fit like hand in glove with their chart, meaning everything that I don't have, my partner has, and together we close off the whole chart. You understand? So where I might have gates that are not our hanging gates, because that's when those of you who said my gates are halfway, yes, those are hanging gates. Well, I might have a gate hanging, not connecting over to the other side, but my husband has the gate closed, and so we meet like this. The gates that are hanging meet with the gate, and sometimes when you clash with people, this can be why you clash, because when you clash, there's something called mirroring. Now that's a psychology term. When you clash with somebody, even if they are a girlfriend, oftentimes you both have defined centers and you cannot see each other. Well, you can't see. All you can see is the mirror reflection back. Now, that's metaphysics and spirituality. Anybody that can trigger you, oftentimes they're reflecting a part of you back to you that you don't want to see or deal with.
When I tell y'all, learning these things, whether we're talking about your human design, your sun sign, your life path number, your birth order, the generation that you come from, your mind will literally be that emoji with the head blown, the head blown open, because things will just start to make sense. And it's such a feeling of relief when you start to understand yourself a little bit more. But you will get just a real awakening, I guess, or a rebirth when you start to understand how you can relate better to other people, or why you always, bump heads with management at work, or why you always get to a certain point, in a romantic relationship, and then things start to happen. Like, your life can literally change by learning more about truly how you were designed. So I know that you could go deep, deep, deep. I have had my reading done. I literally, like, while we were on here, like, pulled it up so I can go through it while we were going through everything. But when I tell you, it is broken down in so much detail. Y'all know that I'm not bringing anybody here that I cannot put, my stamp of approval on. And so I truly, truly hope that y'all will not just tap into this information, but at the very least, make sure you go over on Instagram and follow my auntie at Rebirth with LaTonia. Her info is right down here on your screen. And as she mentioned, if you tap the link in her bio, it'll take you to her website, where if you have not taken the human design quiz, you can do that. If you want to unlock deeper quizzes, I guess you can do that. And if you want to sign up to do a real deep dive one-on-one, then you have the opportunity to do that as well. Trust me when I say this is a woman that you want to tap in with, okay? Whether we're talking about human design or her juicy book and programs, this is definitely a resource that you want to get in where you fit in. I have not let her go since the day that I met her, okay? Any last words, anything else that you want to share before we let the ladies go, Auntie?
Wow, I just can't believe I didn't even scratch on half of the things with you
We need to
all.
do a part two. We got to do a part two.
I mean, if
I know you had some notes over there.
the people want it, yes, I definitely thought that we were going to go a little bit deeper, honey. That's my profile is the easy breezy genius. What's yours called?
Well, okay, hold on. Don't make me lie. My profile is wait, where do I see that?
My
It's
point
so
is
much.
that tell me the numbers. You see your profile?
5'2". Oh, heretic hermit is what mine says.
Mm-hmm.
What does that
Okay.
mean?
Yeah, so the profile types is when it gets really interesting, y'all. I call them your superpowers.
And that means I'm a super hermit, because that sounds about right.
Yeah, you have a 2 in your profile, right? 2 and what? 5.
5. Mm-hmm.
The 2 and the 5, I'm a 2. So that's the person who really is an introvert. They really like being by themselves. They need time alone, and it takes a lot to pull them out of their shell. Now, it depends on what side it is, that whether you are aware of this. Now, let me say this in closing, because I didn't know we only had an hour. I thought I was going to be talking to y'all a little bit longer.
It's okay. We're gonna bring you back for part 2. It is okay.
Okay, let me tell y'all this real quick. So for the recording, listen. On the left side, that's the side when you're looking at your human design chart. On the left side, that's the side you're not conscious about, and you get a number for that side. That determines your profile type. Then on the right side, which is often the black side, some people change the color. That is that side of you that you are conscious and aware of. Human design looks at the day your soul entered into your body before you were born, 90 days before you were born. So it's deep. This is so when you ask me, can it rebirth you? Yes, because when you make the thing that you are not aware of, and you bring it up, or you surround yourself with people who can tell you more about it, that way you're not bumping into things. You're not always trying to heal from the back end of the results. You can get in front of it. You can say, this is what I need to do. Here's what I need to study. These are the crystals I need. This is the type of relationship that I would like to be in. These are the this even goes to the food, where you need to live. It tells you where you need to live. Some of us are not even living in the optimal environment to attract prosperity or the mate. So, yes, can you rebirth? Honey, how many times do you want to rebirth? Come be butterfly like me.
That look, that they're like, yes, I need this energy. I'm definitely tapping in. I told y'all that y'all were gonna see by the end of this, y'all were gonna see why I have not been able to let her go,
I
and
love
why
Coriel.
anytime. Listen, I'm on her line like, please. And she just says yes. She's like, yes, whatever it is, I'll do it. And then I'll be running like, okay, here's the details the day before. And she shows up and shines.
I love you,
I,
Coriel. I love
listen,
you, and I love all of the nieces that you have shared me with. I love you, many of you, Carmen. I know you're out there. I love you. You've given me so many nieces. I start calling names and I get in trouble, but I really do love you all. And I really want to be that auntie that says, I want to share with you what wasn't shared with me, so you don't have to spend as much time in depression. You don't have to spend as much time in rehab with your broken heart, or trying to recover that which you lost because you didn't know your personality was abrasive and you didn't know how to say things, or you need to say more. I want you to be able to have these tools. My mama didn't have them. She didn't know to have them. Your mother probably didn't know to have them. And so then the result are mother wounds and father wounds because they didn't have any skills. Then they didn't have anybody to get to tell them, this is why you're doing this. And don't mention religion and work and all of the things that keep us distracted from tapping into our light and evolving and transcending and overriding the BS. So it's
and,
my honor.
this goes deep. This goes deep because even if we start talking about just the American way of life and the American way
Yes.
of being and how we are just born and bred to be workers, it's insane. It's insane. So we definitely have to do a part two. Sakina says yes. Where is part two?
Is
I
that
am
my
one to
Sakina?
work it out. Maybe it is because Sakina said we need a part two, baby. It is deep. It is deep, and this is why we are dealing with so much because we have not peeled back the layers. And most of us are first generation in terms of this awareness to even being curious about this type of information. Most of our elders called us crazy or would call us crazy if they knew what we're sitting up here talking about. So for y'all to even be here exploring this conversation, I feel honored to be a vessel for this vision. So trust me when I say this is not the last time y'all are going to get to see Auntie. Okay. Make sure y'all follow her on Instagram. I will drop her handle one more time. Tap the link in her bio to get in where you fit in. And Auntie, I appreciate you. I love you. And I
I love
will
you too.
see you. I'll see you back for part two.
Sure thing. I'm happy to be here.
All right, y'all.
Ciao.
I will be right back here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. on YouTube. We are streaming live, and tomorrow we are getting into a conversation about burnout, how to prevent burnout. So I will see y'all here, 8 p.m.